Hey everybody, Professor Snart checking in again. It's been a while, partly with the Thanksgiving break and everything, and then I had individual conferences with just about everybody, or corresponded somehow with everybody, either face to face, through email, through Skype or Adobe Connect, whatever it happened to be. So we're back here, kind of as a class here. Really, one of my last video check-ins as we get right down to the end of the term and of course our course itself. I'm sitting here on Monday morning watching it rain outside, kind of wondering if that's good news or bad news. I mean, at least it's not snow, I suppose, but anyway. Okay, so we are getting right down to it. So let's check our due dates here one last time practically. We've done then the Unit 10 where obviously you had your conference or you sort of interacted with me about your essay. Well, there was the discussion board, which really repeats, your providing us with your topic. For many of you, probably some of you changed quite a bit. Many of you at least a little bit further along, and then of course the big difference is adding in some of the sources that you're working with. So big thing to note again, just like I had mentioned for the earlier kind of topic-based discussion board, is that I'm grading on your participation, not the workability of the topic per se, or even the number of sources you might have at this point. Remember, the requirement for the paper is 3, so you hopefully have 3, but maybe just have 2, maybe some others that you'll go to. Maybe you don't know exactly how they're going to fit in, and certainly none of these discussion board things are contractual. It's not like you're now locked into just those sources, or even just that topic, although to be honest, it's a red flag for me if all of a sudden your topic in your final essay is completely different than this Unit 10 topic post. It just suggests that things, maybe some bad decisions were made about borrowing some stuff from the internet, and et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so now of course we really just have our final unit left. The due date then Tuesday, December 9th. This one is really hard and fast. I can't accept work beyond that. So, be sure that you've really planned for having the paper done, not just at the 11th hour on that Tuesday, but as much in advance as possible so you can let it sit for a while and then come back and kind of edit or revise with slightly fresher eyes. It's really hard to edit a paper that you've just completed. Not only are you sort of tired with it, but just sort of mentally, but you also are like hardly in the mood to edit the thing, right? You want to enjoy it being done. So really manage your time here. We can look really quickly. Oh, you'll see on my course, or my list here, there's a course evaluation. I'm going to move that in real time up here. So one of the last things that I'll ask you to do as part of Unit 11, which I'll go into right here, and this is, of course, after there's another link, same thing down here. After you've done all of your essay stuff, all of your course stuff, is to lots of self-editing, revising things. There'll be a message asking you to do this little course evaluation, a lot like the midterm evaluation, if you remember that. Just giving me some feedback on what worked in the course, what you might change, and again, just be realistic about that. So it's not the time to complain about the fact that it was an online course. That's not, that is what it is. And another reminder that if things went well or if there were strengths, definitely let me know, because I need to know, what worked so I can do those things again too. But this is by all means after you've managed your essay, submitted it, and all of that kind of stuff. A piece of advice I always give is to make sure that you check back into Blackboard within at least a day of submitting your essay, or certainly check your student email, even more regularly than maybe you do already. Just in case there was a problem with the file that you submitted, like I can't open it, or it's not showing up, or, just any weird technical thing that happens. Hopefully doesn't happen, but if it does, we want to catch that right away. So be sure you're staying plugged into Blackboard and your email and kind of our course even after you've submitted that final essay. Okay, so now is also the time, and I'll just go to our units page here, to really think about this essay is bringing together all of the things that we've kind of done throughout all these units. Our 8 weeks felt like, for me at least, it went quite quickly and fairly successfully. It seemed like, the majority of the class really stayed plugged into what we were doing, stayed on task, on time, all that kind of stuff. It's worth mentioning, again, that I just see it too often to not mention it here, that, our final essay is worth a lot of points. It's meant to be this opportunity to show me that you really understand all this stuff that we've covered and can now apply it. You've read through, of course, the assignment itself carefully so you understand the scope. You've hopefully connected with me right through the conferencing unit to really make sure you're on the right track. So we've had all of these steps building up to this essay. So there's a lot of points, but that for many people means a lot of pressure, especially if things didn't get off to a good start and now you basically have a day before it's due. So I just see too often, 1 or 2 students, kind of every other class maybe, they opt for just some bad mistakes or bad choices about, borrowing from the web, basically plagiarizing. So I don't even like putting that idea into people's heads at this point, but just be really careful with that. You can't tell me that you submitted the wrong file or that it was unintentional or this, that, or the other thing. I've heard all those excuses, and they're excuses. If that kind of thing happens, I am almost 100% guaranteed to catch it. It's just too easy to find these days. And there's really no tolerance for that. Ethically, for the 99% of the students who haven't made those bad choices, I can't go out of my way to allow sort of like redos or whatever. So let's say we've talked about that. We actually covered that way back in Unit 2, I believe it was. Let's put that to rest. Okay, as far as what you're working on, obviously you should be fairly deep into your essay at this point. It is always a good idea, though, to review the assignment. I'm sure topic-wise, most people are probably pretty good. Remember the 3 secondary sources, obviously not general websites, so they're focused on the particular text that you're writing about, like the play for most people. They're from the databases. Oh, what else? You've organized effectively if you're doing a comparison essay. Remember, there's a little sort of slideshow walkthrough here about doing comparison essays, so effective organization is important. And then really, this is the most cut and dry piece is the MLA citation part. So we've got lots of resources in our course here as far as citing in text. If you find the situation you're in that's not covered by one of these examples, which is entirely possible, you can always just send me a quick email and ask if you've done it correctly. I've tried to cover, lots of different possibilities here, but each individual writing situation is different. So there's a sample of the in-text. There's a sample works cited page, so you can open this up and look at the sort of the formatting of the page itself. There's information about how to cite anything from our book. One thing to keep in mind is that if you're working with the play, that title is in italics. It's not in quotation marks. Anything from the databases then, the links are right here. They'll take you to the library site. And again, this is truthfully, when I open up your document in the grading system, I scroll right down to that work cited. It's not the most important thing, certainly, in life, but for our research course, this is the most sort of cut and dried area where I can look to see, okay, has this student paid attention to examples, gone into our course, followed the things in the library models, and it's like black or white. It's either right or wrong. It's not a kind of gray subjective area. And truthfully, there's a pretty strong correlation between a solid works cited page, because that means that you've followed examples, you've done this before, responded to maybe feedback from previous units. So if this looks good, then there's a good chance that the essay itself looks good, because the same principle applies. You've done the work in the course and can now successfully show that within the assessment side, the essay side. If, on the other hand, I scroll down to this area, in your essay, the works cited page, and it's titled incorrectly, the page formatting's wrong, the entry formattings are all wrong. Again, it just shows me that, well, you're not watching this and doing it, right? You're not going into our course and using these resources that we've got. You're not following the library, citing sources, models, and examples. So, right, if that's not happening in the works cited, by and large, it's probably not happening in the rest of the essay. So, while of course I read the entire essay, in terms of a letter grade, A, B, C, and on down the line, I can almost guesstimate right off the bat, just by looking at that works cited page, what ballpark we're in. If you have any questions about that, you can certainly ask, but again, it's just a really easy check for me to see, has the student done this basic work, watched this video, and listened to me saying this, and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so as we get to the end, even more important maybe than ever to be in touch with me if you have questions, concerns about your topic, sources you've used, anything and everything. Remember, Tuesday, December 9th, I believe that is. Yep, Tuesday, December 9th then is our final due date, so I look forward to reading everybody's essays, and again, if you have questions, be in touch with me.